Germany and Spain are competing to sell submarines to India as part of the Project 75L submarine acquisition project. Spain's S-80 Plus is conventional submarine with advanced air-independent propulsion, the AIP capabilities, which allow it to operate underwater for extended periods. It's known for its stealth, endurance and operational range. NewsX's editor Sandeep Unnithan is in fact in Spain to see these submarines. Here is what he has to say on the submarine. Why are they needed by India and what is S-80 AIP submarine? Have a listen in.
Well, I'm at the Navantia shipyard in Cartagena, which is in southeastern Spain. It's on the Mediterranean coast. And this is a location where Navantia builds its submarines for the Spanish Navy and for export customers. Now, Navantia is one of two foreign companies that have been shortlisted for India's Project 75I conventional diesel-electric submarines. Navantia has partnered with Larsen & Toubro for this contract, which is at a very advanced stage, where both contenders, German and Spanish, with the Spanish company with L&T, have been shortlisted for this contract. And what we're literally going to see in the next couple of hours over here is a very significant technical milestone in this contract, where you have something called the Air-Independent Propulsion capsule, which is something that extends the underwater submerged endurance of a submarine. It allows a submarine to stay underwater for extended periods of time, almost like a nuclear submarine. Conventional submarines, as you know, have to surface regularly to recharge their batteries, for which they have to run their diesel engines, and the diesel engines need air. But with air-independent propulsion, you're looking at a completely self-sustained cylinder which feeds the engine with electric power, which allows the submarine to stay underwater for several weeks on end. Now, the Indian Navy desperately needs conventional submarines, and that is a gap that the Project 75I fills. And what we have seen in the recent times is that with the kind of threats that are manifesting themselves in the Indian Ocean, with the Pakistan Navy being very active, acquiring new submarines, new Chinese submarines, you have the Chinese Navy, the PLAN, that's been deploying submarines for extended periods of time in the Indian Ocean region over the last decade. The game is afoot in the Indian Ocean region, and which is why the Indian Navy now needs conventional submarines with longer underwater endurance, which is where air-independent propulsion comes in. And AIP is a very critical component of this new contract for P-75I submarines. So Navantia has taken a leg up in this AIP technology, which it is now integrating into the hull of one of the under construction S-80 class submarines for the Spanish Navy. So tomorrow's ceremony is going to be significant because it is actually proof of this concept. The AIP that we thought was only on paper is now a fully functional unit which will be integrated into the hull, and that is the ceremony that is going to be which is going to take place here at the Navantia shipyard. And AIP is literally going to be the game changer for the Project 75I program. Whichever of the two competitors manages to field the AIP capsule in the working specifications that the Indian Navy demands is going to win this contract. It's literally crucial for the P-75I program because it is not just a submarine, but it's a submarine plus AIP. And that is one reason I believe that the Spanish shipyard, Navantia, and its Indian partners, L&T, have a leg up on this race for the P-75I because they have now demonstrated to the Indian Navy this AIP capsule, which has now been integrated into an S-80 submarine. So interesting times ahead for the Indian Navy as it looks to acquire P-75I submarines, 6 of them over the next decade or so. So the AIP that Navantia has developed is has a power output of something like 300 kilowatts of electrical power, which is enough to power a submarine of this size. The S-80 is a large submarine. It's 3,000 tons displacement. I just saw one sailing out. It's much bigger than the one that you see behind me, which is an early 1970s vintage Augusta class submarine. The S-80 is almost twice the size and displacement of this submarine. But the most important thing is that from proof of concept, it's actually gone to a functional AIP system that has now been integrated into a working submarine that is going to enter service with the Spanish Navy in a couple of years. But all of the systems have been completely tested onshore. It's been tested with a functional submarine as well, so that 300 kilowatt power output is not something that's on paper. It's not theoretical. It actually works in practice. This is Sandeep Unnithan from Cartagena at the Navantia shipyard in Spain.